And it's time for our first look at sports. We say a very good evening to Mark.
Well, very good evening to you, and I can tell you that the West Indies captain Jason Holder has told his fans to expect some sort of solidarity action with the Black Lives Matter movement from his players for the first test against England. The recent killing of yet another African American at the hands of U.S. law enforcement has sparked even more protests, specifically in Atlanta. Speaking today on Good Morning Britain, Holder, while admitting that the team hasn't fully decided on what action it will take, he, however, noted that the squad is still eager to show their solidarity.
I think come July 8th, the first test match, definitely we will show our support around the world, globally, towards our solidarity movement. I must highlight that we, Cricket West Indies, are firmly behind, the movement of Black Lives Matter. There's obviously a lot going around the world now with the protests and the whole movement and such. And we're definitely the West Indies team will show their solidarity in the movement. We as a team have had kind of a few discussions around it and as to what we're exactly going to do. And I think come July 8th, the first test match, definitely we will show our support around the world, globally, towards our solidarity in the movement.
The West Indies skipper also noted that racism needs to be eliminated, and two effective tools against such hatred are unity and education.
I think the most effective response is always unity. I've been following it quite closely, and I've seen, many opinions from people around the world, and I think it's a perfect opportunity to inflict change. Particularly following a lot of stuff that's happening in the NBA. Obviously, Stephen Jackson has been close to George Floyd, a personal friend of George Floyd, and I follow him on Instagram personally. And he's big in the movement. One of the things that stands out is just unity. Something he always posts at the bottom of every post he's had since this whole thing broke out was "We love all who love all." And for me, that stands and that highlights a lot. I think the only solution is to unify. We need to unite and come together as one. It needs to be equality, and black people must feel as though they have a presence in this world. I think at present, it could be argued that black people don't feel as though they have a presence in the world, and I think it's a perfect opportunity for people to rise and people to educate themselves on racism and try their best to eradicate racism and come together.
Batsman Kyle Hope is coming back home after being drafted in today's CWI 2020-2021 West Indies Professional Players Draft. Hope, who played 5 test matches and 7 one-day internationals in 2017 for the Windies, has moved from the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force to the Barbados Pride for the next Colonial Medical Insurance Super 50 Cup and also the West Indies Championship. The brother of West Indies batsman Shea Hope, Kyle was the opening batsman for the Red Force, but he made the switch today when representatives of each franchise made 2 picks to bring their contracted squad of players to 15 via a Zoom meeting that was monitored by CWI's auditors KPMG to ensure that the process was carried out effectively and smoothly. Hope was picked by the Pride in the first round. Meanwhile, former Pride skipper Kevin Stout, who has played 76 first-class matches since his debut back in 2007, will have a new home. He's now moving over to the Windward Island Volcanoes. Stout was also picked in the first round. In the second round, the Pride chose all-rounder Shamar Springer. So that full Pride squad reads Craig Brathwaite, Shane Mosley, Jonathan Carter, Justin Graves, Kyle Mayers, Tevin Walcott, Ashley Nurse, Jamel Warwicken, Keon Harding, Shamar Holder, Dominic Drakes, Akeem Jordan, Nicholas Curtin, Kyle Hope, and Shamar Springer. Sophie Devine, the New Zealand women's cricket captain, has advocated the use of a smaller, lighter ball in the women's game to encourage attacking cricket. Under current regulations, the ball used in women's cricket is fractionally smaller and lighter than the one used in the men's game. According to both the laws of the game and the ICC's regulations, the ball should weigh between 141 and 51 grams with a circumference of 21 to 22.5 centimeters in the women's cricket, compared to the men's ball, which can get up to a weight of 163 grams. Devine believes this change would help the women's game.
If it's going to help the game flourish, I think why not? Why would we not have a crack at it and see what happens? I think you've always got to have a bit of trial and error and see what works. I'm probably a bigger fan of looking at a smaller ball but keeping the pitch the same size. That way I reckon bowlers are going to be able to bowl the ball quick. I think spinners are going to be able to turn the ball more. Hopefully the ball should fly a bit further as well, whereas he's still keeping, I guess, the traditional length of the pitch.
Meanwhile, the Indian player Jemima Rodriguez agrees with that suggestion, saying that new ideas should be welcomed to enhance the sport.
We can also be open to, try it out. Like if that is going to, help the game improve and take it to the next level, then why not? Why not, kind of get a thought to it and kind of think about it? Because at the end, it's, we want to promote the game. We want to get more people to watch the game and more people to even join the game. So, yeah, I think it is a good idea.
Switching now to basketball, where the Co-operators General Insurance BABA 2020 season is in limbo. President Francis Williams told CBC Sports that despite the announcement that all sporting activities can resume on the island without spectators, there is still a need for protocols to be implemented for such a sport as basketball.
We had absolutely no meetings. We did not have enough information to even think of planning ahead. We're not sure when, you're not sure what, and at this moment we don't even know how. As the information comes to hand, then we will start to see what we can do, when we can do it. The biggest challenge, I think, is once the protocols come out, would be to make sure that we can deliver them, but not just deliver them consistently, so that the safety of everybody involved is maintained. The reality is basketball is a contact sport, and beyond the fact that it's a sport that everybody lives and wants to be involved in, there's still individual health and safety that needs to be taken into consideration. At this point, none of our athletes are what we would call essential personnel, so there won't be any rush to get competitive basketball back up just for the sake of getting it up without considering, all the parameters involved and protocols and whatever.
Williams also says basketball locally and internationally may never be the same unless a vaccine is found to treat COVID-19.
It's very difficult. There's still a level of space that you're given within something like cricket. Basketball is total body contact for the majority of the game, and I'm sure that the health personnel at the international body are looking at ways to see how they can, improve this. The NBA has gone the route of creating a bubble for their sport, which very few other entities will be able to replicate. So I think once the world body comes up with some idea of how to safely administer the sport, we will then see what can be tweaked or, copied for the local environment.
And Mark is back now with our final look at sports.
Yes, I can tell you that challenging times calls for creative thinking. And this year, the Barbados Olympic Association has chosen to celebrate Olympic Day on the virtual platform. 4 major online events are scheduled. Today, there was a Let's Move TikTok challenge. On June 17th, there will be the hashtag Greek Statue Challenge. On the 19th, a Zoom treasure hunt. And on Olympic Day, June 23rd, there is the Olympic Day workout via Zoom. The brainchild of Director of the Olympic Academy, Venetia Cadogan, and Program Officer Kendia Brathwaite, it was about creating activities that were impactful, interesting, and educational, while sticking to the global theme of Move, Learn, Discover.
If persons go to our website at olympic.org.bb, they will find an activities room. And once you enter that room, you'll be able to access a different set of activities every day. The theme in the room, the overarching theme, is the Olympic Games. So you'll find information related to the Olympic Games, information on things like the Olympic rings and the Olympic flame, and things of that nature will be in the activities room, you'll see information on those, and every day you'll find a set of activities in which you could be engaged surrounding those particular topics. So on the day that we're doing, let's say, the flag, you'll have the information, and then the activities, you'll have things like word searches, puzzles, and then in addition to that, there are a number of other games, tic-tac-toe, and a whole set of games in which persons can be engaged every single day leading up to Olympic Day.
Not to be left out is the educational component of the celebrations, and this year our Olympians will be actively involved.
And then we have the voice of the children who are going to be talking to us about their thoughts about physical education and sports in Barbados. So we'll be hearing from the children as well.
The BOA has already been getting positive feedback from sports persons who are intrigued in participating in online activities, and given the new virtual platform, it is also open to the public. The UFC returned for another event in Las Vegas over the weekend as flyweight Cynthia Cavallo upset the #1 seed and former title contender Jessica Ai in the main event. It was Cavallo's biggest win to date in a significant bout which marked the 400th in the UFC's women's divisions and the 29th time that a women's event took center stage.